guys. Welcome back to Sister Sis.
Hi, Charles.
Thank you so much for all your support. If you are new to our channel, we are two sisters, 2 years apart. We have different opinions on certain topics. So we bring two different perspectives to our channel. Today, we are going to be talking about making an effort and continuing to make an effort for yourself or when you get with somebody else.
When you're in a relationship,
Yes.
to keep that spark alive and to continually make the effort in order to have longevity.
Yes.
I know previous topics we've spoken about, our last two, it's been about relationships and serious relationships and non-serious relationships. So we kind of just going a bit deeper into each section of what we talk about.
Yeah.
So
so whether it's in a relationship, whether it's the courting stroke dating phase, we are just kind of delving into the things that people do in order to get the interest, in order to attain the attention from somebody, how, why, or when that even stops, and the fact that actually it should continue even once you have somebody, even once you're in that relationship. If it's for yourself, picking yourself up on certain days. You don't have to do makeup every day. We're in the midst of a pandemic stroke lockdown. A lot of places where you get makeup aren't even open. So actually, no one's telling you to actually run through your supplies of makeup. But there are days when you can dress up, when you can make up yourself, do your hair, do something for yourself to pick and boost those things back up.
I mean, I've been enjoying some selfie days. That sounds a bit egotistical, I know.
It
But
actually
just,
is,
you lay out a few outfits
Yeah.
and you pamper yourself and make stuff up and just take pictures, not for anyone in specifically, but for yourself. And just to kind of remind yourself, because we don't have the opportunities to get up and get dressed, to go out to dinner, to go out really. I mean, and when I go to work, my job doesn't require me to dress in a professional way or in a particular way. Like, my job is quite hands-on, quite messy sometimes, so I have to wear clothes that are quite practical. So even going out to work still doesn't provide exactly what I think. You don't require it, but for your own self-esteem and to keep your own appearances up, it's important that you do what it takes.
I mean, as women, we all know that sort of now there's a lot more online shopping, but in the days when you could actually go into a clothes shop, get a whole handful of clothes and try them on in the changing room, look at yourself in the mirror, or when, as you said, when you get dressed up to go out, when we could go out, who doesn't look like catching themselves in the mirror after you've kind of made an effort? And it's a boost to your own self-esteem, it's a boost to your own confidence.
And we don't want to sound sort of materialistic at all, because
we're not superficial or anything like that.
We're not talking about just the element of doing yourself up, also doing things like continuing to exercise. And this goes for men and women, because gyms are closed. A lot of personal trainers and things like that have become online, do online workouts, and you can find lots of online workouts. And it's just a matter of, we were talking earlier about when you're thinking, oh, should I go for a cycle, a bike ride, should I go for a walk? You don't necessarily in these times with this weather want to venture outside, but once you do it, and you know that adrenaline, those endorphins that you release, you make you feel so much better. So I mean, in contrast to our first few videos, which was like getting through lockdown or you know, how to cope in a lockdown, this might be quite a contrast, because now we're coming up to 12 months of being in a lockdown. People have got to a different stage of having to cope. It's not so much just, you know, bringing yourself up. You need your positive energy, but lots of mental
because I think
issues
in the beginning,
arose.
sorry to interrupt you, in the beginning, as you said, it was a case of just getting through a phase. When everything goes back to normal, as you said, coming up to almost 12 months, being in these situations for almost 12 months, the things that we now implement for ourselves and for others have now become more long-term, whereas before they were short-term, just to get through the first few weeks, just to get out of the first lockdown. Now it's gone on for so long, and we're having to think about things to do for ourselves and the ones we love that actually are kind of long-term things to keep the morale up, to keep the mood up.
I think at first it was kind of just doing things sporadically that can help you, and I think we've kind of all formed, hopefully, healthy habits. Like, we've developed morning routines and evening routines, so our days are broken up, but those now have become habits. So it's like the extra things you can do on top of these new routines that you've formulated, being at home or only seeing seeing, you know, very few people, if you're seeing anyone at all. And it's the things you can do to boost that, what you're already doing to try and keep positive and try and keep your mind active, just what you can do as an extra to boost the fact that you haven't been anywhere, you haven't had any occasions to attend and things like that, just so that you can remain feeling yourself, feeling passionate about things, feeling sexy, feeling, you know, good about
feeling vibrant.
And vibrant, especially if you're in a marriage, a partnership, a relationship. You need that, because although we're going through this, lots of people don't understand that the effect that it's having within partnerships, that maybe you're not even coming out of your house clothes, you know, or your pajamas of a day. Like, that's okay maybe if you're single, but that's going to have a direct impact on your relationship. And as we know, in this time, lots of relationships have found it really difficult to get through this. Lots of different scenarios within families that are happening, and dynamics
intensified. Even if there were things going on before, they've definitely become intensified.
I think you're seeing a lot of personality traits that you necessarily didn't always see, because maybe your partner was at the club or at a pub or at the gym, or meeting up with friends, or your woman would go to the gym or go swimming or meet up with her friends, or go to dinner or take the children out for a day, you know. And those little space and gaps that you had for yourself and your own time, the things that kind of attract you when people have their own interests and their own hobbies outside the house, that can be quite attractive to your partner, that you've got your own things going on. That helps you to, but when you're both in each other's space, or you only see that person, it's like really important that you kind of shine yourself. And you're gonna have bad days. I get it completely. Like, I'm human too, but you have to every so often make that special effort to still, you know, you might not be able to go and do your nails, but paint your nails, or give yourself a manicure, a pedicure, you know, soak in the bath for a longer time, put petals in, you know, do what you need to do.
Turn up the music. We have spoken about this in some of our earlier videos as well. It's about that feel good factor, whether it's helping others to feel good or helping yourself to feel good.
But buy yourself some nightwear, you know, some lingerie that makes you feel good. Not even if you're single, like, do that for yourself to make yourself feel that way, because, you know, you do still want to have that appeal to yourself, because that's what you're going to put out there. And it is difficult. It's like getting up a steep hill, because if you're in your comfy clothes, you know, that's okay to have your days like that. But if you've been like that for 12 months and then you are trying to attract someone, or you're trying to maintain or keep a spark alive in your relationship, that's going to have an effect. And that goes for men too. Men are not going to the barbers, you know, like, there's nothing more attractive than like
their self-confidence is being a bit knocked as well.
Like a fresh haircut, what that does for fellas, and what that does for the person who's receiving that from you, you know, that is a nice thing to see. You know, you keep your appearances, you know, maybe this is a time to learn how to groom yourself, to cut your own hair, to trim your own beard, you know. It might be a time for you to invest in some shares, you know. You're not spending money on holidays and stuff, so invest in these things that are going to make the difference with you.
And as you said, we're not superficial, we're not materialistic, we're not all about the aesthetics or anything else. A lot of our videos, if you look back and actually watch our videos, we talk about doing the inner work, doing the healing, doing the accountability and the vulnerability, and kind of elevating yourself. So we are very much about doing the internal work, but what we're saying to complement the internal work is to sometimes do things for yourself externally, that kind of reflect how you're feeling inside. And as you said, sometimes if you've been doing for 12 months, not getting dressed, not coming out of your sort of your house clothes, your comfy clothes, even if it's just once a week, still do a Friday, because days are rolling into one another. Mondays are feeling like Wednesdays are feeling like Sundays. Even if you just dress up on a Friday, even if you live by yourself, turn up the music on a Friday, dress up, put some music on, put your jewelry on, and have an absolute blast.
Hopefully you are doing, you know, some of these things.
If you're not already.
Hopefully you've worked out ways to do this, but we're just kind of adding that little extra and saying, you know what, a lot of sparks and flames are dying out in people. And we've noticed that just by the conversations we're now having with people after such a long period of time. You know, I can say from a personal experience, my own relationship, you know, has had things to work through, and emotional stuff, physical stuff, you know, and I'm just kind of bringing that to you because to let people know as well that we all go through things, and that there will be a light at the end of the tunnel, hopefully, whatever you believe. But it's important in these times to not lose yourself trying to mentally cope with what's going on. And even those people out there who have thought that they don't believe this is a pandemic, that's all good. That's possibly our opinions too. But at the same time, don't think just because you're not succumb to the news that it doesn't have an effect on you. What's happening is the environment that you're in, even if you particular are trying to resist, you're trying to rebuke all that's going on, just being in the environment, hearing things, seeing people with masks every time you go out of your house, just that, it is mental warfare. And it's going to take its toll, and it's supposed to take its toll. That's the whole point.
Exactly.
But we're saying combat that, really work against that kind of low vibrational feeling that you can be feeling now. You might not, but from my own experience, from our own experiences, it's come to a point where people think now, a year's up now, guys, you know, come on. But we might be in this for another year. We might be in for another 6 months. This might be it. So how are you going to function within it?
How are you going to function within your relationships and things like this? And as we were saying, you know, with everything that's going on, a lot of people's financial situation has changed. Some people's physical situation has changed, where they weren't living together before, so that actually they can't see each other at the moment. We're talking about inexpensive things. Even if you kind of record a video, write some poetry, do some art for someone, if you are living together and you can run a bar for somebody, cook a meal for somebody, tidy up the house for them because they've not got a break because they're homeschooling, working from home.
Still keep your love languages intact. And actually
keep pouring into the tank.
Use your love language also, not just for your lover. Use your love language for yourself.
Yes.
If you like, you know, giving gifts, give a gift to yourself. If you're someone who likes receiving gifts, give a gift to yourself. If you want, you know, acts of service, run yourself, you know, a nice herbal bath or a nice salt bath or whatever you like to do. So the same love languages that you know apply to you, do them for yourself, because that ultimately is going to feel rewarding to you. And just be really mindful, I think, of the fact that you need to take time for yourself, and you need to appreciate what's happening and then work around how you're going to cope with that. Because just ignoring the fact that we are where we are, and that there's only so much negative environmental issues you can stuff that you can take on. Like if you're going to work, you're homeschooling your children. No one has ever been in a time like this that we know.
Indefinitely.
And not knowing when this is going to end, not knowing what it's going to look like, not knowing the safety of your family members and things like this, not coping with a different type of grief. You know, no one has ever been in this. So it's important, I think, for us to come and just say, look, we're not being completely superficial, but we are saying it's really important. I mean, before this, I always had an issue with, you know, the double standards of women always have to look a certain way and carry themselves that way, whereas men can have their bad days and stuff like that. But I think it's as important for men and women to be appealing to the person they're with. And I think we all have times, if you're unwell, if you've got a terminal illness, there's going to be exceptions to the rule, you know, but on a whole, even on your worst days, try. And trying might sound like patronizing. It might sound like I am trying, but I just don't feel like it. I'm in a fog. I'm in a depression. What I'm saying is, it won't make you feel better until you do it.
Yes.
Like, you don't understand the impact things have until you practice it. Like, until you give that a go, don't just write it off, what I'm saying, what Charlie's saying, because we're trying to live what we say. Before we come out with these topics to discuss and to voice with each other, we try it. We journal every day ourselves, and we think about how we can move forward, how we can keep ourselves in a good place, and how we can increase and encourage our relationships with our family members, with our children, and with our partners. And
even if we can use the knowledge that we have or the experiences that we have to uplift or help someone else in a similar or even different situation, then that's why we kind of come to you guys with this information. If there are or is anybody out there with a relationship that is going through hard times, before you've kind of written off the relationship, so to speak, if that's what's on your cards, try everything. Try to kind of reinsert the romance. Try to reinsert the love languages and the gestures and the things like these. Sometimes people get so comfortable, so complacent and so content once you've got a partner, or once you're in a relationship, or once you've been dating someone for a certain amount of time. All of those things seem to stop. The very things that you did to attract that person, to gain that person's interest and intrigue and everything else, then stops at some point. We're not saying there isn't more to a person than the actions and the things that you do.
Definitely.
But if all the actions cease to
happen,
happen,
a key factor. And we've been talking a lot about the feminine role and finding your inner
nurturer and things like this.
Your inner woman and your feminine side, your
divine energy and everything.
And it's important to maintain that through this time that is tough, because that ultimately is where we get our strength as women, is in our feminine energy. And it's important to practice that and to be very aware that that can be lost and that can be translated in different ways when you're going through really hard testing times. And it's important to just take time to reflect upon that, and don't lose your femininity, don't lose your feminine energy, because ultimately that's what makes us us. That's what makes people come to us, and that's what gives us the strength to carry on every day and try new things, start new businesses, get new hobbies, and just keep pushing forward, keep moving forward. And in order to do that, sometimes you need a little boost. I mean, we've had comments saying people saying, oh, is that their hair, and that's a lot of makeup, and comments we delete quite quickly. But it's like, it takes a lot for us in our own lives to come here and do this and be presentable, and to be presentable when we go out, and be presentable to our partners,
and to be transparent, live our truth, but be transparent in our truth to help you guys.
Appreciate feedback, and if you've got anything else that you think people listening can benefit from, put that in the comments. Put positive things. If you don't agree with what we've said, what's the alternative? What is your view?
What are the suggestions and solutions?
Exactly. We don't need more problems, and we don't need people to come and counteract completely what we're saying. If you find that you have an idea and what's been working for you within this time, please share that, because people do read our comments. People do get back to us about the comments that have been left. So please share that. If you find that, you drink a glass of wine and that's enough for you to, loosen up, have a dance.
What's that stuff called? Sip and stroke? When you have a sip of wine and get canvas and paint a picture. The name itself is a bit, sip and stroke. But no, the idea of actually just sipping a glass of wine with the music on and painting, and whatever the result is on the canvas, is an expression.
And it is that. I think that's probably what we're trying to say. You still need to be able to express yourself. You are still there, and you're still putting that out, and it's important to not let your flame die out. And I think that's the echo of what we want to actually say.
We're just saying,
you have a spark, you have a flame, keep continuing to ignite that flame, because that's you. Basically, and you don't want to lose yourself.
And to summarise, I think what we're saying and what we've said with all our videos, if you put them together, is we want everybody, like ourselves, to feel good inside, but also to feel good outside, to the point where you are radiating, others come to you, and then it just continues. The energy, the good energy transfer continues.
And I think going after the Valentine's Day topic that we had, finding love after a certain age, it's just about sharing love in the world, and that's important. That
healthy conversations, opening discussions between males, females, men, women, however you want to define it or class it. But it's just about strengthening each other, one another, and collectively, individually, so we can all get through what's happening.
Because I'm sure, like ourselves, like you out there, you've had disagreements still with family members, you've had disagreements with partners, you've had disagreements with parents, you've had disagreements with your children, and we can't lose sight of the energy that love brings to everything, and how that energy can overcome so much. And we need each other, people. There's never been more of a time where you need people now. So don't push people away. Don't feel yourself that you're unlikable, unlovable, unwantable, and unattractive. Like, do things that are going to make you believe that you're all those things still.
I did see something yesterday, I think, on social media that said, do not allow social distancing to make you become emotionally distant. So yes, there is social distancing going on. There are rules, regulations, all these things put in place at the moment, but there's nothing that's stopping you from being emotionally connected through whatever means you have to use. There's nothing stopping you from emotionally connecting with the people in your house, the people you're in either relationship with, your circles, your family. Stay connected, stay feeding yourself with confidence and self-esteem, stay loving yourself.
That's I think the perfect one is you've if you've already watched some of our videos and you're already aware of love languages, you know what yours are. Do them for you, and then express them to the people who are around you, so they know what you're going to need. And you know, it's not every day this is going to happen, but be reflective enough to at least once in a week, if you're going to meditate on it, or whatever you're going to do, pray about the things you want in your life. Just take a step back to think about how you can help yourself, and keep shining, keep glowing. You know, don't let anybody put your spark out, your light out. You know, some people will try, some people will be going through their own mess, but overcome that. You know, really take time out for yourself to overcome having other people's energy take yours and sap yours, and you know, live, smile, love. And I think that's the message for today, is keep your spark alive, and keep it alive for the people you're in relationships with, and don't give up right now. It's really easy to want to give up right now. Giving up is never an option in our eyes. It's never an option. You don't know what's around the corner, and you know, think about your blessings. You know, attitude of gratitude. Think about all the things that are good in your life, and just stay safe, stay in love, and
and guys, if you haven't already, please subscribe to our channel. Please hit the like button. Please hit the notification bell if you don't want to miss any of our future videos that are coming up. And please feel free to share our content, to share our videos with friends, families, on Facebook, in WhatsApp groups. The more people get this information, maybe the more people will actually be uplifted. And last but not least, if we can just set you a challenge. If anybody, whoever watches this video, this Friday, how about you just turn the music up, get dressed up, and have a blast on Friday? Hit the comments and tell us how you felt afterwards, even if you just want to tell us how you felt during the moment.
Please, email your pictures, all of you, email your videos to sis@gmail.co.uk, and we'd love to receive them.
Or please tag us at sistersis_now on Instagram. Please show us your videos. Friday, looking forward to it. I'll be ready in my house on Friday. Turn up, basically. But
turn down for what?
Love you guys.
Bye.